Good morning, children. I hope you've got such a lovely day where you are, as I've got here where I am. It's beautiful. I'm going to read you a story called Franky's Shadow. Do you all know what a shadow is? We've all got one. We only see it though when there's a light shining on us or when the sunshine is shining on us. And we see it on the floor or on the wall behind us or in front of us, wherever. And this is about Franky's shadow. Okay? One night, Franky had a bad dream. So he got out of bed and crept along the landing to Mum and Dad's room. But something was following Franky. It was big and grey, and it had arms and legs. When Franky moved, it moved too. When Franky stood still, it stood still. Franky didn't like this strange shape following him one little bit. And here we have Franky getting out of bed, and he and his shadow creeping out along the landing to Mummy and Daddy's room. And you can see it does look very scary, doesn't it? No wonder that Franky doesn't like it. Mummy! Cried Franky at the top of his voice. There's a monster following me! Mum and Dad came running out of their room. It's not a monster, said Mum. It's just your shadow. My shadow had a bad dream too, said Franky. So Mum and Dad took Franky to snuggle down in their room with them. And after that, there were no more bad dreams for Franky or his shadow. And here he is, being hugged by Mummy to comfort him, and then sharing the bed with Mummy and Daddy and the cat on top of the eiderdown. That was a very short story, so I'm going to read you one more. This one is also about bedtime. It's called Night Night, Fred. It was time for bed at Fred's house. Come on, Fred, said Dad. The sun's asleep and the moon is bright. It's time to put away your toys and say good night. But Fred didn't want to go to bed. He wanted to play with his toys. No, he said. Come on now, said Dad, and he held out his arms. But Fred took 2 steps back, and he shook his head and his cheeks went red. No bed, he shouted. Well, sighed Dad, let's play a game instead. Let's just pretend the toys are tired after their day being played with. But They can't go to sleep until they're all put away. Could you help me to tuck them up in the toy box and say good night? Fred looked at his toys, and then he looked at Dad. Then he thought for a while and said, all right. Fred picked up his toys and he kissed each of them good night. Dad closed the lid of the toy box really tightly. Fred sighed and rubbed his eyes. I'm tired, he said. Come on, whispered Dad. And he gently picked up Fred and laid him in his bed. Fred snuggled into his warm, snoozy quilt and his soft, billowy pillow. Dad was very proud of him. Well done, he said. Good night, Fred. And he turned out the light. Outside, the moon shone brightly. But Fred didn't see that because he was fast asleep. Night, night, Fred. I'll say night, night to you from here. Whatever time of day, you can remember when it's bedtime, Granny Glenys saying to you, night, night, everybody.